Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Big Impact Louisiana, where we are spotlighting the people and organizations shaping the future of our state in bold and innovative ways. Innovative ways. Today, I especially am excited about our guest, not just because of her leadership and her vision, but because I have known her for personally for a few years. I'm not even sure how many years, because we don't need to talk about how long we've been out of college. But Michelle Clarke Payne, and I go way back with her from Loyola days, where we both were proudly serving on a board of directors. I've had a chance to watch Michelle lead with purpose, with grace, and her unwavering commitment to always inspiring me and inspiring everyone around her for all of the great things she's doing. And she's bringing that same type of energy to her new role as the president of the Junior League of New Orleans. With over 1,600 members, Junior League of New Orleans is one of the largest leagues in the world, and it plays a critical role in the community development, women's leadership, and direct service here in the Crescent City. And with the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina on the horizon, Michelle is helping guide Junior League through a session of reflection, action, and recommitment. So, everyone, please welcome to Big Impact Louisiana, the wonderful, great Michelle. But I also I just found out from the LinkedIn, congratulations on your City Business Icon Award for
Thank
this
you,
year.
Nicole. I
I was like,
appreciate you
whoa,
so
she is an
much.
icon. And like everyone gets to see all of her icon
No.
story in the big magazine life. I'm so glad.
Oh, you were very sweet. And I echo exactly what you said about me as a leadership. You have the exact same quality. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, Michelle, can you share a little bit about your background and how your career journey led you to take on the role of being the president of Junior League?
Sure. So you mentioned Katrina originally, and I was actually
Mhm.
just speaking with someone else about this with the 20th anniversary coming up. I know a lot of people are reflecting back on that time, and a lot of people around here say either pre-Katrina or post-Katrina. And as you mentioned, I went to Loyola University at the time. I happened to serve as the SGA body president when Katrina hit, the year it hit.
Oh,
And
really? I know about that.
yes, and ever since then, I made a vow that I wanted to be part of the city, help it rebuild and help it grow back. And so really, I think just, Loyola and the Jesuit values instilled in me really kind of shaped who I am today and really want, in terms of giving back to the city and having that purpose-driven leadership. I appreciate you saying that. That was very thoughtful. But I really hope that is what I do and that through the leadership roles that I'm given, that I'm able to kind of make that impact and really kind of leave it better than when I found it. So that's really been my goal my whole career thus far. But in terms of Junior League specifically, I am so proud to be in this role. I'm humbled beyond words. I think it's a group, like you mentioned, of over 1,600 women that are just making a difference in the community. And it's such a diverse, wonderful group of women that really want to show up, and they've been doing it for over 100 years. And so we continue to evolve, and I really feel like we're, the fabric within the city of giving back and helping show up and be that volunteer organization that, when people need something, they call us. And so I'm proud to be able to lead this group, but it is by all means not just me. It is a wonderful group of women. We have a wonderful board that I would get to work alongside of, as well as, a few wonderful staff members as well that really are the engine behind it. So yeah, so that's kind of what has led me to this point of where I am today.
So, how has your experience in community? Because you have a lot of background in communications, marketing, as well as your board service. It has influenced your overall leadership style going forward.
Yeah, so my originally my background is communication. So I was thankful to work at an ad agency, Peter Mayer Advertising, for nearly 11 years when I first got out of college. And that really helped shape me just in terms of understanding how to work with all different types of people. Whether it was client facing or internal facing, and also just in which ways different people receive information different ways. And I think understanding that as a leader is key. That the way in which you might, work with someone in one way may look differently for somebody else. And I think just through the years, that's probably the biggest takeaway from a comm standpoint, in terms of just how to be able to adapt and work with people. But I think too, just from my personal leadership style, I really find that transparency is key. I think,
Mhm.
I had a great mentor that always said people want to be a part of something they created. And so it's that idea that people want to be involved in whatever the thing is. And I
Mhm.
think that's a key in leadership of making and allowing people to be part of something that's bigger. And then that motivates them and that gets their passions involved. And, it makes it that much better for them and for the community as well. So I think that's a big piece of from the comm side of how other than obviously making sure we market it right and making sure we communicate it right and various things from just a simple comm standpoint of telling that story. But I think all of that wrapped into it really has guided me in terms of how I show up, how in terms of which I communicate, and just making sure that anyone who's part of it is really part of it and feels like they're a part of it as well.
I love that. That's important. Feeling a part of it, feeling a
Mhm.
part of something bigger than you. I
Right.
think is kind of like our guiding star for, especially the type of work that we do working within nonprofits.
Absolutely.
For those who are just overall unfamiliar with Junior League of New Orleans, can you describe the organization's mission and its role in our community overall?
Absolutely. So so the mission of Junior League is it's to advance women's leadership for meaningful community impact through volunteer action, collaboration, and training. And so that has evolved through the years. As I mentioned earlier, we're over 100 years old. So the ways in which the women may have shown up even just 50 years ago may look slightly different, but I think at the core of it, it's always been the same, and that the Junior League really is trying to provide that meaningful community impact and show up where the community needs us most. And so through the years, various things have evolved in terms of projects or community projects or where we volunteer and how we volunteer. But at the core, I think it's that meaningful community impact that has driven all of us to be part of it.
Hmm. And I know like one of the things, Junior League has like a really strong history of cultivating women leaders throughout the New Orleans, outside throughout the country, really.
Right.
How does Junior League New Orleans approach leadership development today?
That's a great question. Um, So in terms of, I mean, I think there's different ways. Leadership development, we always say that we're a training organization. And so a lot of in the way in which we structure ourselves is really to provide members with what they need to train to be in those positions, whether that's leadership positions, in their work or in the community. So we have various projects around, let's say the diaper bank is one
Mhm.
example. So we at Junior League run, it's the largest diaper bank in the Gulf South, and that is a Junior League product. It's the Junior League diaper bank, and it is fully run by volunteers. But when you think about running a warehouse that has distribution
Right.
points and working with community members, I mean, there are so many different skills and talents that you have to have in order to meet those needs and to fulfill those requests. And so just teaching members, through that hands-on training. So whether that's, working with community partners to understand the need and then really developing plans of how we show up, or just distribution of how do you
Mhm.
get that product in, making sure just counting it, making sure that we're marking it and getting it back out. And so I think all of those skill sets are things that we constantly, it's on the job training of what we're trying to give to our members who are part of it. But I think there's all sorts of things. So like the diaper bank is just one example. I think there's other things like events. So we do great big events that are fundraisers for us that then drive the
Mhm.
programmatic work that we do. So things like Tetra Truck is a big one that's coming up in November. And this is over 1,000-person event that we host, and it's all run by volunteers. And they put this on, and it's amazing. And they work with community partners and corporate sponsors, and get the trucks there at the Pontchartrain Center, and then families and children and everyone can come to it. And even to where then we look at, okay, but what's the need in the community? And we have what we call Friday field trip. And so we allow children that may not necessarily have the opportunity to come, on the Saturday with a purchase ticket,
Right.
come for free. And so we work with schools in that way. So there's a number of different events and just which, understanding the needs of the community and then figuring out how we show up, but then also how do we train our members along the way to where they gain those skill sets and are part of that as well.
I know you guys are engaged in so many different initiatives and programs, and you have so many projects. Is there any specifically that you're especially proud of, or something even coming up that you're just like excited to get started?
Yes, so many. There it really is. I know we only have, I don't know what, 30 minutes, but so yes, there's so many wonderful projects that the league does. I mean, the Junior League Diaper Bank obviously being one of those, but I think there's other things. One that I particularly love, is our We Fellowship, event that we do in the spring. And this was created, in order to provide local women business owners, with mentorship, training, and financial support to grow their businesses. And so it's almost like it is a pitch
Mm.
competition. So they come to the league, they get narrowed down and get selected, we give them resources. And we've had some amazing contestants throughout the year that have gone on to amazing careers, and their businesses have grown and flourished thanks to some of the support we have given them. And so I think it's little things like, even not that that's a little project by any means,
Right.
but things like that. June, the diaper bank is such a big, great, wonderful project, but I think there's these other programs that are going on too. And just being partners in the community. Covenant House, or where we donate a lot of the things to help supply their stores, or just a slew of things. But one particular that I'm really excited about, because it is, and in 2 weeks is the 20th anniversary of Katrina. We're doing a lot around that right now,
Mm,
because the league really showed up following Katrina, and we wanted to make sure that we continue to show up. And so there's some different things happening. Coming up on Monday, we're doing a poverty simulation. So, really to help our members understand, ALICE, as we know, stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained and Employed. But these are individuals that are working jobs and, paycheck to paycheck to make ends meet. And
mm,
so we're trying to make sure that our members really understand who in the community that we are serving and what are their needs, and how can we continue to show up and serve them and those that are in need, that need us most. And so that's just one example. Another is, we have some various service projects happening throughout the community, but also we have a mayoral forum coming up. And we know that as women, as anyone, any member of our community, it is so important right now to vote and to get out there and to use your voice for the good. And so that is something we're having the candidates come in, and really center around women's issues. One of the things, we were talking about earlier was around data. And it's,
mhm,
as part of our centennial, we, the league, worked with Newcomb Institute to, in 2016, we did the women's study, and then we
mhm.
did it again just recently because we wanted to see where progress has been made for women and children in
Right.
our community, and the needs and the gaps that still exist. And so then how can we continue to evolve and show up to meet those needs and gaps? And so the forum really is centered around women's issues, and what are these candidates going to do to continue to further help women and children and families ultimately in our community. And so we're really excited about some of these upcoming events related to Katrina 20th, of just to show, progress has been made, but there's still more progress that needs to
Mhm.
happen. And how can we continue to all work together to do it? Because if anything, Katrina taught us is that it takes all of us together working together. We know the
Right.
need is so great in our community. So what is it that, maybe what's that one small thing that someone can do, or that we can do, to help better someone else's life?
Right. I mean, you kind of already started touching on it, on the Hurricane Katrina 20, the
Yeah.
anniversary. So what are some of the other events, even the events that maybe the public can attend, that you think of interest that for everyone who might be listening?
I think probably, one of the biggest is going to be the mayoral forum. I will say it's going to go live actually later today. I think
Oh,
it's going to fill up pretty quickly though. But I do think, but one of the things we are going to do is live stream it. And so if
okay.
anything, we are going to allow for anyone to sign up to be part of that. And so
Mhm.
the intent really is to make sure that we're, communicating women's needs that are still out there, that still need to be met, and what can be done to further that progress. So I think that's a big piece of it, from a community standpoint.
Right.
Another one we have from a member standpoint tomorrow is, two amazing women, Ann Milling and Ruthie Frierson, are coming to our general membership meeting to talk about, they have started some amazing organizations as a result that have, you know, advocated for levee protection, as well as
Mhm.
Women of the Storm. And these are just powerful women that have been past presidents of the league that are coming to speak to our members just around how do we continue to show up and how do we continue to motivate.
Mhm.
So that's not necessarily for the public, but I do think it's going to help in terms of the membership that we have, and then growing that impact within our members.
Right.
And then we always have service projects at the diaper bank. So if anybody wants to come and give back, we have lots of volunteer shifts that are open to the public, and we would love to have.
Oh,
Yeah, love to have you come. We take groups. We take anyone who wants to come and help out with the diaper bank. We would welcome them to come and help from a service project standpoint as well.
no, that's great. I didn't actually know that you can do that for us, the public. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you kind of already started touching on it, but how does Junior League use data to guide its programs and just start measuring the impact in a community?
That's a great question. We do use a lot of data, and we continue to evolve what that data looks like. So, as mentioned earlier, the women's study is a big piece of this, in terms of really understanding some of those areas of focus that are still needed in terms of progress.
Mhm.
Economic impact, childcare, various things and it could go on. But in
Right.
terms of how we continue to develop programs to then show up in the community, um, we also use a lot of data just in terms of like we do use the Alice report to determine where the most need is, and then how do we supply it with through the diaper bank, so our diapers, adult incontinence products, or period products out to the community.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big piece of it too. Another thing, that just came to mind when you asked that was we work with a lot of the various parishes. Like we're about to launch, we're excited about launching period products in the Jefferson Parish libraries.
Oh,
So
that's
figuring
great.
out, yeah, we're really
Mhm.
excited about that's secret. That's not coming out until a month from now. But so we're working with various like entities of how do we get the products in the right hands of individuals who need it, and making sure
Right.
that the data reflects those that are in need,
Mhm.
are those that most need it. So I think those off the top of my head are probably the best ways. But I do think also we use internal data of just like programs and things like that of like effectiveness of impacting. So we do survey our community partners and look for and understand, who they are serving, and making sure that that data is lining up with
Mhm.
serving the needs of the community as a whole as well.
That's great. That's great. So I want to touch a little bit about like community engagement partnership because these are things that y'all do really well, and a lot of nonprofits organization could really use some of y'all energy around this area. So I know y'all have such a large and very active membership. Like
We
everyone I know
do.
at Dream League, they're very involved, they're excited, and they're motivated. How do you keep your members engaged and motivated to want to continue to come out and show up in the really effective ways that your membership shows up?
Yeah, you were absolutely right. Our members are absolutely amazing. They are fantastic and they bring so much energy.
They really do.
We just had a new member event. We're so proud. We had over 115 new members, and we had an event on Friday night, and you could just feel the energy in the room of just excitement of being part of this and getting involved and figuring out.
Mhm.
I think one of the ways to answer your question is we offer like we offer different things. So meaning that the way you, Shirkle, may feel fulfilled may not be the same way that I feel
Right.
fulfilled, and that I think is a huge benefit of the league, in which we're able to allow you to engage in ways that are most interested to you. So you may want to serve clients directly, and if so, we have programs that do that. But you may want to be part of the fundraising side and develop these great events, and that's great too, because it all works together. But I think it goes back to also that idea of like being part of something and creating something that you're a part of. Um, and I think truly we allow our members, we give them opportunities, but we allow them to flourish in that role. So we
Mhm.
give people leadership positions to, say chair touch a truck, and then they kind of take these events and run with it. And so I think
Right.
it's that ownership piece too. That's part of this overall mission of being part of something bigger, like we both talked about right in the beginning. I think it's being part of something bigger that you see firsthand is creating this impact. And I
Right.
think that's what builds on that momentum.
Mhm.
No matter what the thing is that you're doing. And from a communication side, going back to that, we try really hard to show how it all works together to our members, so
Mhm.
they understand that yes, they might be working an event, but here's how it's directly impacting the
Mhm.
community. And so I think it's making sure that we communicate that story and that storytelling of how are we making that impact in the community, and how are you part of it. And I think that's what keeps that momentum going at the end of the day.
I think what you mentioned that was the most powerful, one of the most powerful things you mentioned in this statement was, I think it can apply for people who are looking for donors as well as volunteers, is asking yourself and taking a very clear look at what does fulfillment look like for
Mhm.
those people that you're specifically targeting. So you
Yeah.
can start thinking of ways to get creative around it. I think that's really wasn't really, but like when you think about it, those are the right words to start asking yourself was what exactly does fulfillment look like to that specific target group of people.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think so. One of the ways, just from a tactical standpoint, in case this is helpful for anyone out there, in terms of we all at the junior league have what we call a placement, and so a
Mhm.
placement is a basically a volunteer project, if you will, within the
Mhm.
league that is about 40 plus hours. And so everyone has a placement.
Hmm.
And when we're going through that, we have a tool that we use to ask those questions to your point of, what type of things do you like? What are you good at? What excites you? And then we try to place people based on those interests. So that's just something generally speaking, as if a
Hmm.
nonprofit, when you're looking for board members or whatever it may be, of trying to align those interests. Because I think at the end of the day, when your members are happier with that placement, obviously they want to, exceed and do even more in that
Right.
space that they're in.
Hmm. I agree. So, how does Junior League New Orleans collaborate with other nonprofits and community leaders? How do you start building those different relationships to get to the point where you're able to collaborate so effectively, like you guys are doing?
Yeah, I think it goes back to really open communication and understanding what our mission is, and then understanding what other missions are of other organizations. Just we're really excited about this mayoral forum. We are partnering with some amazing other women organizations in this community because we all cared about women's issues, and we also know the mayoral forum, or whoever will be selected as mayor moving forward, is so important for the city
Mhm.
that that's a common interest. So I think it's finding that common interest and then figuring out how we can all work together. So, I mean, just within this mayoral forum, we're working with two different links chapters, the National Council on Jewish Women and
Wow.
Women United of United Way. So these are some powerful, amazing women organizations that are all coming together, around this common cause. So I think
Mhm.
that's kind of at the end of the day of just being open to it and figuring out, what are your goals, what are our goals, and then how can we work together? Because I think at the end of the day, the need is so great, and there's not one organization in the city that can solve it. But working together, we can solve more. And so I
Mhm.
think that's figuring out, like, how do you continue those conversations and figure out where are there alignments of groups. Another great one is when we decided to sunset our Ferret Street shop that we had, that allowed us to then create a partnership with Yep. And so I think there's some great like understanding and not duplicating of efforts. I think also
Right.
from a nonprofit perspective in the city, as you know,
Yeah.
I think is key because because again, that need is so great. How do we make sure like we understand who's doing what, and then we're doing this piece, so how can we work
Mhm.
together to do it together,
I agree. Yeah, that's important. So, during your presidency, I mean, you probably already started thinking about it. You might not have your full list yet or not, but I'm just curious, what are some of your key goals for your presidency, of the Junior League New Orleans?
I think ultimately at the end of the day, I hope to leave it a little bit better than when I found it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a simple goal. But I think it's that I think we have such a strong organization already and so many amazing projects. But what are those things we can do to continue to build on it? And it's interesting because I had a wonderful board member that said, like, what is it that you want to do? Just kind of to your point. And I said, I don't think it's that we have to create anything new
Mm-hmm.
from my perspective. I think we have to build on what we have. And we have this legacy of junior league members and projects and things already in the community that are so strong. And I think it's figuring out how do you just build upon what's already been built and how do you
Right.
make it even that much better. And so I'm really proud of what we've done. I don't think there's anything like at the end of this year, if we say we did the things that we have
Mm-hmm.
successful and that our members were engaged and our members are happy, to me, that's what success looks like. And that we were able to make a difference in
Yeah.
some form or fashion. And I think that's what I hope for at the end of this. So nothing new per se, but
Mhm.
really just kind of building on that foundation and continuing to make that impact in the community.
That's great. How can people interested in Junior League New Orleans work get involved or support the organization overall?
Yeah, there's lots of ways. So if interested in supporting it, whether it be through, we do a few different ways. So product donation. So if you're interested in, people outside companies we have that do diaper drives and things like that. So like, at an office, if you want to, for a good cause, bring diapers, we are happy to coordinate that and pick
Mhm.
that up and that sort of thing. So product is one. Another is financial contributions. So any dollar really can make a difference. We have various ways which you can give to the league or you can sponsor. So I mean, there's all different types of events. If the company or individual is trying to reach a certain audience, we have a lot of different events. I mentioned Touch a Truck. We have Holly Jolly Market. We have Women's Leadership Summit. We have a lot of different events that happen in the city that provide different audiences and touch points. So if someone or an organization wants to get in front of those, sponsorship is a great way. But if they want to get involved as an individual, as a member, I am very proud to say so you just have to be 23 or older.
Mhm.
I love that we are seeing our membership continue to shift, and that we have all ages that are now part of the league, which is exciting because I think it brings just this wealth of knowledge from all ends that really are just this wonderful like conglomeration of individuals
Mhm.
in a room that you may not have otherwise been, got to have conversations or been a part
Right.
of. And but you can go onto our website. So on it's jlno.org and we have information on there. Our recruitment application is not open right now, but there is a way that you can sign up to show that you're interested, and there will be communication then that you get about things that are happening, events that are open to the public that you can come and
Mhm.
still be a part of and kind of understand the league. And then in the spring is when we do our application process. So yeah, anyone is welcome. We would love to get more people involved and just creating that impact in the community.
Mm. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I truly appreciate you. And congratulations again on your award. I mean, I
Thank
don't
you,
expect
Nicole.
anything less from a wolf pack.
Woo. Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate you so much for asking and being a part of this and all for all that you do for the community too.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Awesome.